Hello guys, welcome to a new video of Fischer series. Today we're round number 20 of the Stockholm Interzonal of 962. It's Fischer against Julio Bolbochan, and this is a beautiful game. Fischer even won the Brilliancy prize because of it, so let's see what happens. Fischer has the white pieces and he starts with e4. c5 by Bolbochan going into the Sicilian. Knight f3, d6, d4, c takes d4, knight takes d4, knight f6, knight c3 and a6. This is all theory, the Najdorf. And against the Najdorf, Fischer has tried a lot, even his own opening with bishop c4, the Fischer-Sozen attack. But here he tries something else. h3. Well, h3, is that even a move? Well, this is actually called the Adams attack, named after Weaver Adams, who popularized it in the 40s. Later Fischer played it, also Nigel Short played it in the 80s. And the purpose is very clear. With a6, you didn't do anything to your piece development. So white can afford to also play a slower move and then prepare g4, g5, f4 and just launch a kingside attack. So let's see what happens. After h3, knight c6 and g4. Fischer's just going for it. Knight takes d4, queen takes d4 to lure the queen to the center to then attack it. Queen d3 and bishop to e7. And now g5. Very aggressive, knight d7 and bishop e3. Well, why not h4 here to defend the pawn, since it's attacked twice? Well, if you take the pawn, we have bishop takes, queen takes, and we win a central pawn for the flank pawn. So white would be pretty happy. That's why Bolbochan doesn't take here. He plays knight c5, attacking the queen. Queen drops back to d2, now double defending the pawn, and bishop to e6, which is probably the strongest piece in black's camp here. Now, long castles by Fischer and short castles by Bolbochan. f3, defending this pawn and later preparing f4. Rook c8, coming on the semi-open file now. And king to b1. And Fischer actually annotated this game in his 60 memorable games, and he says, king b1. Amateurs are often puzzled by this apparent loss of time. Actually, it is a handy defensive move, getting out of the pin on the queen's bishop file. So what's the queen's bishop file? This is the bishop on the queen side. So the c file is the queen's bishop file, which could become annoying after pawn, queen, knight, 5-4, which it's very funny how they talk about those moves. Pawn, queen, knight is the queen side, the pawn of the knight. This is the pawn, queen, knight, and this is the pawn, king, knight. So the pin would be annoying after b5, b4. That's basically what he's saying. But okay. King b1, a useful move. Now knight d7. Since the knight was not doing much here, not attacking anything, we want to rotate it after b5 to b6 and then to c4 maybe. But it is a slow move. White is faster with h4, b5. And just as I said, this light squared bishop is very strong. And our light squared bishop is not doing much. So we want to exchange our bad bishop for your good bishop. Now bishop takes, rook takes, a very good exchange for Fischer. And here knight b6. But we can simply take the knight and after queen takes, cement our knight into this d5 square. Fischer says white has a strategically won game, his knight cannot be dislodged. And that's actually true. There are no pawns that can kick it, there's no light squared bishop that can kick it, no knight, so a beautiful square for the knight. Queen has to move, d8, and here f4, breaking on the king's side. Pawn takes, queen d7, attacking the rook, but simply queen to f5. If you take our queen, we take the bishop and then we win the queen later on because of this, and you're down a piece, so you can't take the queen. Rook to d8 here, and here rook to a3. And Fischer actually says about this move, rook a3. It shows how ideal the position is. White can afford the luxury of probing weaknesses on both wings. So now the queen has to defend this pawn, and the rook goes to c3. But actually here, rook c3 is not the best move. The best move might be knight takes, but check, queen takes, and just win this pawn and go into this endgame. But Fischer says, ironically, I wouldn't have been awarded the Brilliancy prize had I chosen the best line here. They don't give medals for endgame technique. So that's why here he doesn't take the bishop. Rook to c3, just building up pressure here. Now g6, attacking the queen, but simply queen to g4. Queen to d7, wanting this exchange, but now we're not interested. Queen f3. And you can see that this knight jump could become annoying, so queen e6 to defend this square. Now rook c7, double attacking the bishop. Rook has to defend. And here knight f4. And just look at this attack on the queen. Where can the queen even go? There are not many squares. All those squares are actually defended. So only one square left, the e5 square. And rook to d5. And now again only two squares left. Queen h8. And I mean, just appreciate this beautiful position. Look at how passive black is and the attack of Fischer on the king. I mean, this is a position I could look at for a very long time. Very beautiful, queen h8. Now a3, just making some breathing space for our king so there are no back rank checkmates later on. Here h6, Bolbochan tries to come out here. Pawn takes, queen takes. And now h5, the best move in the position. Here you shouldn't take, then we take with the rook, and obviously we're opening up those lines. So here, bishop to g5, double attacking the knight. But Fischer doesn't care. He simply takes the pawn, and even after pawn takes, he allows a triple attack on the knight. Here, there's actually a very beautiful move for white, which is the only winning move in the position. I would say pause the video here and find the winning move for Fischer. So the winning move here, which Fischer calls the coup de grace, is queen to b3. A beautiful move. Looking at this. Well, here, if you take the knight with the bishop, we have rook h5 with a discovered check and we win the queen. So here Bolbochan took the knight with the rook. But now, not taking the bishop, we have rook e5, discovered check, king f8, and here the winning blow, rook takes e8. And Bolbochan resigned the game. Why did he resign? Well, the king basically has to take the rook, there are no other moves. And here we give a check, we come in here. And wherever you go, only two squares, this would be checkmate. And if you come here, it would be checkmate like this. This was such a beautiful game. I really hope you liked this video. If so, please like, subscribe or comment. And I'll see you on the next video. Bye bye.